Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun filled, action packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT from WX Risk, the captain of chaos, colonel confusion, and commander of catastrophe, and all around evil scientist. I'm not really an evil scientist, but there are so few of us left these days. I just pretend I'm one. Anyway, let's talk about this week in weather. And obviously, the snowstorm coming up this weekend here for the Mid Atlantic. Some issues of uncertainty, some things which are pretty well set. Let's get right to it. Now, I'll start out by taking a look at my Outlook map from yesterday. I put this out. And, this looked so far to be a fairly good Outlook map of what I thought was going to happen. And there's not much, it's a Outlook maps you have to get take with a grain of salt. So I try to emphasize that this was not a forecast because it's not. It's just a general idea of what's going to happen. And you can see the freezing rain area there in North Carolina, and then the sleet and freezing rain, a little bit of snow in northwest North Carolina, and then south central Virginia. And obviously the area in and around Richmond, south of Roanoke, towards Farmville, and then up towards King William and the northern neck counties. There, that's the biggest uncertainty in the whole thing that I can see. So, and then the solid area of significant snowfall over much of Virginia, no doubt about that. So let's get right to it now. I thought I'd go through the analysis first, but then I figured some of you probably just want to see the first guess map because I probably talk too much. So here we go. This here is your first guess map for you. Let's take a look at this in some detail. So let me point out some things here for you. First of all, you see these little red dots here? That represents major city areas. So if you don't know which major city areas those are, you really need to go back to high school. Really, you really do. Okay. This here is the 1 inch snow line here. You can see that right along here. So I have it up to about Philly and central Pennsylvania. And then there's your 3 inch snow line, which is just north of Baltimore, and then into Pittsburgh and southwestern Pennsylvania, Altoona, Jamestown, that sort of thing. And then obviously, and then of course the 6 inch line is a solid blue area, which is south of DC, but in northern Virginia, not far from DC, into St. Mary's and Calvert County, and then Charlottesville, Lake Anna, Fredericksburg, Stafford, Lynchburg, Livingston, Lexington, most of the Shenandoah Valley, then onto the Greenbrier Valley of West Virginia here, and then up to western Maryland, and then southeastern Ohio. So that's the big area, I think. And then inside that area, there's going to be some areas of 6 to 10 within that. Now on the south side, we go back to 3 inches here, the blue line again. And now the purple area, let's take a look at this. Significant portion of this event will be sleet. There'll be some snow, especially Sunday morning. It'll go over to sleet and freezing rain. And then it'll probably go back to all snow Sunday evening as the cold air comes back into the system. And that includes the Richmond metro area. We'll get to the detail of that in a second. And then very close, just to the south of Roanoke and Lynchburg. This could get a little closer to Roanoke and Lynchburg than I have it, but we'll start out. Remember, this is just a first guess map. There's 2 more maps after this. And we also have the sleet into portions of West Virginia here. And again, there's your 3 inch line. And then this pink area represents, a couple of inches of snow, maybe, especially in southwest Virginia, along the Virginia-North Carolina border, and then a lot of freezing rain and sleet in this whole area down in here, a lot of freezing rain and sleet. And then for Hampton Roads, sorry, I got the 1 inch line close to Williamsburg and Matthews, Gloucester, that sort of thing. But this is mostly a rain event for eastern half of North Carolina and southeast Virginia. And if we go to next slide here, now this is the first guess map. I've enlarged it to focus on the main areas of concern. So you can just see this in more detail. So north of Richmond, I have a 6 inch line just to the north of Richmond. So the point here is that if you're in Ashland, or even to northwest in Goochland, you're going to see a lot more snow than what to see in Richmond or Petersburg or Nottoway, that sort of thing, or the James City, Charles City. So big discrepancy there. That's the real fight here. And we'll get to that fight in a second of why that's developing with the models. But you can clearly see the 6 to 10 inch area. And the 6 inch line is south of DC, but not far from DC. So I can't rule out that some places close to DC, around Interstate 66, Gainesville, Manassas, could see 6 inches out of this. That's not out of the question. And the 3 inch line, most of DC, Baltimore, Central Maryland. And then again, you can see where Roanoke and Lynchburg very close to the 6 inch line there. All right. So the timing here, This is the initial burst of snow. So 7 a.m. is a red line, you can see that. Then 1 p.m. Saturday, and then 7 p.m. Saturday. That's how it's going to develop. So now it's a little tricky because there's going to be one burst of snow which is going to break out to the north. That's going to fall apart Saturday night, and then the main system develops late Saturday night and Sunday morning to the south. Okay. So let's take a look and start out by take a look at this. Now this here is the operational GFS, the 12Z run from Thursday afternoon. And you can see what happens is that this is a Saturday. Let me get my timings right here. This is actually Sunday morning at 1 a.m. So this here is Sunday at 1 a.m. Now this is the initial burst of snow. You see how it expands this way? Notice not much going on in Virginia here in this area. So the initial burst of snow here with the warm front trying to move in. Okay, now here's your Arctic high, very strong, 1039 millibars. Now this is Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Now Richmond is right on the edge of the snow and the rain and the sleet. You can see that right there. Everybody to the northwest is doing great. And you also have your moderate snow up to here, up to Pennsylvania, maybe into Philly. I think that's overdone, but maybe. And there's your low pressure area along the coast. And then if we go here, now this takes us to Sunday, 1 p.m. And again, you can see Richmond is right on the rain snow line right here. You can see this right there. To the south, it's heavy rain. And then there you go. To the north, we still have some snow. Now, this is 1 p.m. Sunday. The GFS is a lot faster than some of those models as well. And that's also, I think, is interesting. I think it's wrong, but and let me explain why. First, obviously, I'm concerned about the Arctic high here being 1035 millibars. You can see that feature right here. Okay, and sending down the north winds. I just don't understand that. So that's the first problem I have with it. But here's the other problem. Now this is the sounding, what the atmosphere is going to look like 1 a.m. Sunday in Richmond. So notice in the little image here in the upper top, you see that we're not getting any precip here yet. So the dew point is 26. You see that number right there, and the temperature is 35. So dew point of 26, a temperature of 35. That gives you a spread of 9 points. You see that? Now that means that when the precipitation starts, the dew point is going to rise and the temperature is going to fall. They will meet around 32 degrees, which is the wet bulb. You may have heard that term before, especially if you're a weather geek, the wet bulb temperature. Indeed, if you look at this image, you see the little blue line here? You see a little blue line right there? That is the wet bulb, and it's below 32 degrees. Now at 7 a.m. Sunday morning, this is what the GFS says. Evaporational cooling? I never heard of it. Why? Because I'm a piece of crap. That's why. Okay, and look what it does. The temperature stays 35 degrees. This is a meteorological impossibility. This cannot happen. The temperature has to fall somewhat, and it doesn't do it. That's telling me that's when you're violating the basic laws of physics like that. That's not a good sign. All right. Sure. Now, if we look at the GFS snowfall map, okay, it's, some of this is sleet. 2 inches south of Richmond, 4 inches north of it. A pretty good 3 to 648 in the Shenandoah Valley, Roanoke up towards, close to DC suburbs, all this area. It's not bad. It's okay. It's not great. And then you also pretty good snow in southern Ohio and West Virginia, this whole area too. But all of this looks looks very ridiculous to me. So maybe it's right. I don't think it is. So we'll see. And what's interesting about this, and this is a warning sign, this is the GFS ensemble. Now, it's got more snow than this, by far. This is the 6-inch line. See this purple stuff with the blue? Okay, right there, see that? That's 6-inch line. That's just south of DC. This here is Richmond. Okay, this is Charlottesville. This is Roanoke down here. Roanoke, that's 9-10 inches of snow in Roanoke. In Charlottesville, Lexington, up maybe Harrisonburg. That's not what this is showing. That's not showing that. So the question is, most of the time, remember the GFS ensemble consists of 20 members. If you've taken it as an average over a mean, it's usually going to have less snow than the operational run. But in this case, it's got more snow than the operational run. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. This is not a good model. Danger. Captain, we've got to fix the engines. We've got something stuck in the warp drive. And this, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Now, this here is a Canadian model for the 12Z Thursday Canadian model. Now, it's a few degrees colder, but look at the huge difference it has. Now, here's the Arctic high up in here. You can see it very strongly, monster Arctic high. The north wind is coming down, doing its job, and there's the low pressure area. Now, Richmond has gone, we're snow here Sunday morning, 1 a.m. That's Sunday. Oops. 1 a.m. Okay, we can see that. Snow in Richmond, heavy snow in Roanoke, Lynchburg, good snow in D.C., Charlottesville, Northern Neck, up Dover, Baltimore, good snow in Ohio, Southwest Pennsylvania. Now 7 a.m. Sunday morning. This is 7 a.m. here. There's the north wind coming down. Now you've got heavy snow in central Virginia, and the rain snow line is just to the sleet line is very close to Richmond, but it's not quite in Richmond. And if you're just to the west or to the northwest or the north of Richmond, you're getting pounded on the Canadian model. I mean, hammered. All right. And then this is 1 o'clock Sunday. Richmond's back to all snow. I mean, way down there past West Point and Stony Creek, it's all snow. And it's snowing back into D.C. and Charlottesville and Roanoke and Livingston and Farmville. Nice snowstorm here Sunday afternoon. And as a result, the Canadian produces this. A pretty good snowstorm. Now, notice south of Richmond, look at the drop off here. This is really significant. And this is an important point. This is what the model is telling you. It could go either way here. Okay, so the drop off, let me get my marker here. Close this up first. Let me see if I can move this. So let me enlarge it a little bit so you can see it more clearly. Okay. Now, south of Richmond, it's 6 inches of snow on the south side. See that? And then look how much it really drops off just south of that. Now, north of Richmond, you're 11 inches. You're 9 inches in Charlottesville, 8 inches in Farmville, 9, 10 inches in Lynchburg and Roanoke, all very possible. 6, 8, 9 inches. It's got 6 inches in D.C., 8 inches, 9 inches in southern Maryland, into Dover and central Maryland Eastern Shore. But just to the south, look at that cutoff, folks. Wham! So that's a big deal. That's what the model is saying. All these models are showing that. We have to figure out the cutoff here. And Richmond is right on the edge of it. It's going to be a bear figuring out Richmond. Okay, now this was the 0Z European model from Thursday morning. And what I pointed out here, it is significantly colder than the 12Z run. And you can see the difference here. I drew the red lining to show you the rain snow line. Same time frame, Sunday morning, Sunday at 1 o'clock, Sunday 1 o'clock. So that was from last night. Now this is the GFS, also early Thursday morning. You can see also the rain snow line a little further to the south, but the 32-degree line is north of Richmond. So again, the GFS ensemble gets Richmond up to like 32, 33, 34 degrees, and that's kind of iffy. So just to the north and west, it's still coming down. And then now, this here is the European model this afternoon. Now this is 1 o'clock on Sunday. So let's take a look at this and we can see this carefully. So this is your zero line right here. It is now north of Richmond. And your 32-degree line is this line here. So Richmond at this point is either mixed or gone over to rain at 1 o'clock on Sunday, if that's correct. Everybody else, this is all snow. This is all rain down in here in southeast Virginia, Raleigh, east, and then we've got snow up in this whole area. Okay. Now what happens is we begin to see a change. Now this is the GFS ensemble for early Thursday morning. You can see also has the rain snow line Sunday night, very close to just to the south of Richmond. So the cold air is trying to come back here at the end of the storm. Okay, and so now I'll go to, this is the 12Z European. So this is the operational run. So this is 12Z here on Thursday. Alrighty. So what happens is, actually, I went out of order, so let me clear this out. So let me put this slide here. There we go. Now, this is, again, this is the 12Z Thursday afternoon European model. So this is Sunday, 4 o'clock. Now, we saw that the model does have us going above Richmond, above 32 degrees, Sunday, 1 o'clock. But by 4 p.m., there's your rain snow line. You can see the red line very nicely here. You can see just to the north of Richmond. So it's still raining or mixed here at best. Okay? Now, Sunday, 7 p.m., the line moves south of Richmond. You can clearly see that. So now it's turning colder again with a north wind. Now, Monday, 1 a.m., look what happens. The European has additional precip. Look at all this precip continuing Sunday night to Monday morning, all the way back to Farmville. 4 a.m., all the way back to Farmville. And this is all snow. So if the European is right, if it's right, you could have another 2 to another 5 inches of snow on top of whatever falls on Sunday night in central Virginia. Easily. That's an unusual development. The other models aren't doing this. Remember, the GFS is much, much faster with this, so that's kind of an unusual development. So we'll see. Okay, look at the ice here on the European. That's a big ice storm coming from portions of northwest North Carolina. That's pretty decent. A European snowfall, there you go. And one of the reasons it's got all this significant snow, greater than 6 inches in this area, is because of the wraparound on Sunday night to Monday morning from the low off the coast here. So you got this wraparound in here. So we'll see if that happens. Now, this is an interesting map. This shows a probability of seeing at least 1 inch of snow for this event by Monday night. At least 1 inch. Now, the red represents 100%, 99%. You can clearly see that even Richmond, 80, 90% here, DC, 90%, Dover, Salisbury, Maryland, Charlottesville, all these areas, 90%. But, again, notice the very sharp drop off here. Very sharp drop off. Okay, now this next one shows us at least 3 inches. Maybe more, but at least 3. Let's take a look at this. Now, Richmond here is around 60%, 50% of Petersburg, 50% around DC, 55%, Charlottesville, 82%, and then Roanoke, 86%, Lynchburg, 92%, very good, and then all in this area, the Greenbrier Valley, Shenandoah, 80 to 90%. So really good probabilities here of at least 3 inches of snow from this event. But again, look how sharp this cutoff is to the south. It really drops off there. And once you go south of Chesterfield County, it really drops off the snow amounts here. And then finally, this is 6 inches or more, not high probability of that at all from this event. This was the operational European, excuse me, this is European ensemble. And what's important to notice is this line. See how sharp it is? So Richmond's around 4 inches of snow, which is reasonable. Could be 3, could be 5. DC's 4 inches. Again, could be close to 6. And all this area in here is around 5 or 6 inches, could be a little more. Very reasonable forecast. So I think, based upon that, I think this is, looking to be pretty reasonable. Okay. Now, if we look at how this event develops, this is Saturday morning. So pay attention. This is important. Okay, Saturday morning, light snow here. See this? Out to Roanoke, Lynchburg, Southwest Virginia, Northwest North Carolina, Kentucky. Saturday, 7 p.m. Look at the band that pushes first here. See that? Pushes first here. Now, this is Richmond, right on the edge of it. Maybe mostly north of us. So this is the initial band here to D.C., Northern Virginia. Okay? Not much going on here. So Saturday morning, Saturday evening, don't come complaining like, DT, this snow's falling apart. It's a busted forecast. I don't want to hear it because that's what's supposed to happen. Okay? All right. Now, this is Sunday morning, 1 a.m. Now, look what happens. The northern band of snow is still here. And you can see the northern band of snow is right here. There you go. Now, it's beginning to fill in over the southwest area. You can see that. And then Sunday, 7 a.m., moderate snow, Richmond, over to the Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, Roanoke, Lynchburg, Charlottesville. And look at all the heavy ice and freezing rain down in here. Okay. Now, now notice the precipitation here is falling apart in the northern area. Remember that? That's now gone. That's falling apart. Okay. This is Sunday, 1 p.m. And you can see it very clearly here. Richmond, let me call it up, is right on the edge. There's snow here just to the south of its ice. But look at all the moderate snow. Roanoke, Lynchburg, Farmville, Charlottesville, Ashland, Lake Anna, Fredericksburg, maybe. Really good snow falling here. And this is Sunday, 7 p.m. Even more moderate snow. Look at this snow. Richmond points to the north, to the west, to the north, to the northeast, Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, getting some in the interior there, Southern Maryland. So there you go. You can see light snow up to DC here still. Okay, pretty nice storm. And then finally, this is what's different about it. So Monday morning, 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. If we're still getting snow like this Monday morning in central Virginia, eastern Virginia, like I said, this is going to put another 2 to 4 inches of snow on the ground, which right now most forecasters do not have. So we'll see if that happens. European might be wrong about this. I don't know yet. We'll just wait and see. Now, beyond this, we have another system here. This is the morning of January 20th. You can clearly see some area of low pressure right here. You can clearly see it there. Arctic high here, very nicely. So obviously, this is Martin Luther King Day weekend, some sort of low like this. It will be cold enough for snow. It should be in some areas, but we'll see. And then even beyond that, we have this one on the European ensemble. There's obviously some sort of wave here. Here's your trough. There's your trough axis. There's some sort of low here. We'll see if that develops. There's that possibility. And then the new European weeklies have just come out. Well, this is really exciting. Here we go. This is valid for January 29th. Look at this monster trough here. Look at the extreme blocking developing here over Greenland and the big ridge pushing up towards the Arctic Circle. Here's your polar vortex. You have a huge trough here. And look at the Arctic outbreak. So end of the month, Arctic outbreak. Okay? January 29th, Arctic outbreak possible. End of the month. Right? Right. Okay. Now this one takes us early February. Again, severe, intense blocking of the Greenland block, the negative NAO there. Okay, huge Arctic oscillation here, Eastern Pacific oscillation, monster trough. You can see it. Very strong shortwave here. Again, another cold outbreak, potentially some sort of low pressure on the East Coast. That looks pretty impressive. Now this is the week 3, 21 to 21, 8-day, and you can see again, this is the mean over the last 7 days. Huge here in the Arctic Circle. The EPO is very strong here. Look at the block over Greenland. My God. And then you have your trough here. Very cold, stormy looking pattern potentially down the road. And we can even see that on this slide here, which takes us to early mid-February. Very strong short wave here. Very strong blocking here. This looks like a big winter storm here in February, mid-February 10th or 11th. And there's another one February 15th as well. Very active pattern here. Really, I'm very impressed. It's looking a lot like 2009, 2010. This is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I'll talk to you soon and see you on the Twitter page and on the Facebook page.